Hello hunters and welcome back, my name is Revonlieke. On today's episode we go through the 10 things that I want to be added in the future, most on a title or in Iceborne. Some of these are actually quite far-fetched and probably won't be coming, but I still think that they are good additions and things to think about at least. Alright, let's go to it. Bounty restock when a similar bounty is available. What I mean by this is that currently whenever you are out of your bounties, you need to go and restock those bounties that are available. What I would like to have is a filter system that automatically adds certain types of bounties to that list. So let's say you are only looking at bounties that are investigations. Then whenever investigation bounties are available, they would be added to the list for you to do, and a notification to kind of inform you that you have a bounty to be done. Similar to something like an area bounty that's in Ancient Forest, for example. You could filter that everything that's in Ancient Forest goes into my bounty list and so forth. I think that would be a good idea or addition to the bounty system. Second thing that I would like to be added is actually a quality of life improvement overall, a skill that increases the investigation chance. So whenever you are collecting tracks, there's a higher chance for you to get an investigation with this skill equipped. That would be a good addition because currently there really isn't a direct skill that affects that in any way. On top of this skill could have levels, so that at the last level it would increase the chance to get a good investigation. For example, if you want a Black Diablos investigation with 5 item slots, then increasing the skill level would have a higher chance to get those. That would be a good idea. Third one is also a quality of life improvement, which is a faster way to remove all decorations. Currently there really isn't a good way to remove every decoration in all of your sets. This is very useful to do when you are melding your decorations. So let's say I have 8 critical eye jewels and 4 of those are equipped in my armor sets. Now when I go to Elder Melder, of course I would only see 4 critical eye jewels in my inventory because 4 of those are in my armor sets. So every time in Modern World I need to go and remove those decorations from the set in order to have 8 in stock. So a chance or a button in the menu that just removes all decorations from all sets is a nice addition because it doesn't really affect your registered equipment. So if you register an armor set, whenever you equip it, it will just equip all the decorations as well, so it doesn't really affect that. Fourth one is also a quality of life improvement. The Safari needs to have a good way to restock or gather certain items. Currently, what I think are important items are nourishing extracts and Kelpie horns. Both of those items are what I currently constantly try to get my Safari to gather. It's not the best way to do it. Nourishing extract you get from Dodogama, and Kelpie horns of course you get from hunting Kelpies, but both of those are kind of tedious things to keep doing constantly. So what I instead do is send Safari to do those tasks. So I think Safari needs to have some sort of improvement on that end. Whatever that improvement might be, I still don't really know myself, but I hope that at least Iceborne has some improvement on that. Which probably they will, because Master Rank usually changes those things a little bit. On the 5th slot we have, this is actually interesting, so it's public canteen recipes. What I mean by this is that whenever you exchange your guild card with someone, I would like to have it so that when you go to the canteen you will see that your friend used this type of recipe to get whatever feline skill for their bow set. So it would show their equipment, maybe their weapon, and then the recipe that they used. So you can kind of just take that if you have the same equipment and you need the same skills or something. That's one part of this improvement that I would like to see. Another thing would be a super rare voucher that you can actually activate for an hour publicly. So let's say I used a voucher, it would activate whether or not you are in an online session, it would activate publicly to everyone. So whenever someone plays solo, they would see that someone in your area, for example, had activated a voucher, and you can now use this voucher to activate the skills that you need. Because not everyone is going to have vouchers available for themselves, and I think it would be a good idea to add this to kind of improve the socialization aspect of the game, where you see, okay, this guy just gave me a chance to get these skills, which would be a nice thing. Sixth thing is actually something that's really important for me, and probably to some of you, which is that the golden ore locations in Kultaroth need to appear outside of Kultaroth's area. And those golden ore locations need to have a chance to drop Kultaroth weapons, so sublime weapons or whatever have you. And then you would go to upgrade those weapons as you collect those ore locations. What I mean by this, of course, is that after you've unlocked Kultaroth, after you've maybe hunted her once, you will start to see that these ore locations will appear all over Ancient Forest, all over Wildspire Waste, all of the maps. Of course, they would need to be rare spawns, and they would appear similarly to how we currently have in Modern World with flourishing cacti, for example. Similar to that, I would like to have these golden ore locations spawn at random locations in the map, and it would actually need to be quite rare of a spawn, and there would need to be no notification of it, so no random text saying like flourishing golden ore locations or anything. Seventh thing on this list is Poogie Rodeo. And some of you might have no idea what this means, but you took your Poogie outside of your tent and you made your Palico ride the Poogie, and they just ran around the town area. I think Iceborne really needs to add that back, and I think it's going to come back because it's just so iconic for Monster Hunter at this point, and it's a little Easter egg as well. So for the 8th spot here, I do think that they need to rethink the Gold Wyverian print a little bit. Now, before you click off, I do want to emphasize that I understand the point of the Gold Wyverian print. It is to give reward for those people that have been struggling with getting a Rathalos Ruby or Legiana Gem or whatever have you. That being said, I do think that for the future rarer items such as Rathalos Mantles and Legiana Mantles, I do think that the Gold Wyverian print shouldn't include those items. And when I talk about mantles, I don't mean the equipable mantles on Monster Hunter World. In previous games, mantles were items that were rarer than gems or rubies. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about a little bit about how you could actually enhance the Gold Wyverian print a little bit for a better direction. So let's take the idea of the jewel system currently, how you meld your decorations in order to get certain jewels. I think that system would work best for the Gold Wyverian print, where you would use it and you would get an RNG roll, which would then give you certain items, and you had a percentage chance to get a mantle. That would work best for mantles, I think, because it doesn't reduce the RNG nature of carving a tail or getting it from the reward pool, from fighting the monster or hunting the monster. Instead, you just get the same RNG pool just by using the print. I think that would be a softer solution for the idea that instead of you just getting the item that you want, even though I fully understand the reasoning behind it, I don't think for the rarest items in the game it's that much of a loss if you need to go through the RNG pool, even though there's a separate discussion to be had about RNG pools in Monster Hunter World. For the 9th spot on this list I have something a little bit different. So this is something that's already been fixed a little bit in Iceborne, and that is how monsters behave in between the areas. So let's say you have area A and area B, how the monster behaves when it's in the pathway in the middle of those areas. And this is fixed in Iceborne with the clutch claw, because you can kind of grapple yourself to the monster and kind of follow them along when they escape from area A. But in general, I think that this is something that needs to be fixed in the future titles, where the monsters actually are able to behave normally in those pathways. In Monster Hunter World currently, sure, you can fight the monster a little bit in those areas. When you aggro a monster in a pathway, you kind of can fight against them a little bit, but generally speaking they escape quite quickly and go to an open area. So I think that's something that really needs to be fixed in a future title. Alright, so before we go to the last spot, please do consider leaving a comment down below saying what changes I could do and what improvements I should make to the video to make them a little bit more easier for you guys to follow along. Thanks either way, and let's just hop straight into the 10th spot on this video. So for the last spot here I have something different as well, and that is a random arena. And this is something that I've been thinking about a little bit. In Monster Hunter in general, the arena has always kind of become redundant after you've gathered all the items you can get from it. And I think that they need to rework the arena so that there's a reason for you to keep doing it. And a random arena would work pretty well for it, depending on the rewards you get from it. What I mean, of course, by random arena is that everything that you are equipped with, every item, every armor piece, every weapon is going to be randomized completely. And the monster as well will be a random monster. And this would, of course, result in situations where you have like a iron longsword or something and very bad equipment with armor and skills, and you might have 0 potions in your item list and you have like maybe 2 max potions and some other items. It would introduce this new challenge system into the game, and depending on the reward system, if it rewarded, for example, if the game somehow knew that okay, your equipment is really bad, and it would reward you with higher tier items, for example, maybe some armor sets that you would never ever get elsewhere. Something like this would work best for Iceborne, I think, because it would kind of make the game last longer and have a reason for players to keep doing arena as well. Now, I didn't want to bring the endgame system into this 10th spot, simply because I think we all know that the endgame system needs to change, and it needs to change to a better direction. So instead of that, I wanted to bring you this idea of a random arena, which would, I think, it would bring something new to Monster Hunter, which was never done in previous games. Now, before we close up on this episode, I want to give a huge thanks to Arekkz Gaming for giving me a chance to show off the Poogie Rodeo clip for you guys. So thank you so much, Arekkz. Also, something to keep in mind on this episode is that many of the changes are very minor, and some of the changes are really just out there, really. So I'm not expecting many of these updates to come, if any of them. Also, by this time, Capcom released a development diary containing a lot of updates to the game, but currently, from what I've read, I don't see any of those that I've listed being listed in the development diary update. So I'm kinda still hoping for them, but definitely not going to see them most likely. There was an update to Poogie as well, and it didn't mention a Poogie Rodeo, so I'm sorry guys. Either way guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I really enjoyed making the edits on the video to kind of show you examples of what I mean instead of just talking about them. So if anything, I hope you enjoyed that part of the video. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.